Another key aspect of bringing shamanism into everyday life is the idea of taking responsibility for yourself. Sometimes people get to a place where they feel like that things are out of their control, that they do not have any way of changing their environment or changing what is going on around them. And that may very well be true, because there's a number of things in our everyday life that we simply cannot control, including the weather, including the way that our bosses think about us, or other beliefs that people have about us that simply aren't true, that we'll never be able to change. It seems to be a lot of things that are outside of our control. And so from a shamanic perspective, taking responsibility for your life means being able to move that through us and then make choices and move from there. It's like, it doesn't matter what's happened before. It really doesn't matter what's in your history. I work with a number of people who have, they're abuse survivors, and they have some of them have very dark pasts, which has changed them in some fundamental ways, and many of them feel lost, and many of them feel victimized, and that sort of thing, and all of that is true. I certainly can understand that. The question always is, though, what do you do with that? There are ways in shamanic healing that those things can be addressed, that you can't change the event, but you can change the energy around it. You can change your response to it. And you can change how it affects your life going forward. Okay? But at a certain point, when you get enough of that cleaned up, there comes a question as to what do we do now? And at that point, it's getting out of that cycle of being persecuted, being victimized, being judged, that triangle. The only way out of that is to take full responsibility for your life. What that means is that you recognize that you have a choice, and you recognize that you can act in this moment in any way that you want. And whatever the outcome of that might be, take responsibility for that. Okay? Very simple to say, but not necessarily so simple to do. It's a challenge, and that's why shamanic practice is often compared to the life of a warrior. You have to work at it. You have to constantly and continually work toward this intention that you have of being whole, of being free. And the only way to be free is to accept responsibility. So what do you do whenever you have moved to this place and you're taking responsibility and you encounter people who reflect back to you things that are negative, that may treat you badly? They may accuse you of things or tell you that you are a bad person or whatever that might be, and there's a whole lot of different ways that can show up for you in your life and in your interactions with others. But the thing to do with that, first of all, is have very good boundaries. Having good established energetic boundaries helps to keep you more clear about what they are saying is theirs and what might be true for you. A good way of doing that is whenever somebody tells you something about yourself, a judgment of you, rather than to react, take a moment and ask yourself, what part of that is true for me? What part of it has nothing to do with me? It's about not taking things personally, right? So you go through a little process. You can do this even in the context of an argument. If you don't get engaged in the argument, if you sit back and you listen, you pay attention, you recognize that the other person is in essence a mirror for you. You get to see yourself through this other person. How much of that is really yours? And some of it may be. Okay, if that's true, if some of it is yours, then make a note, I need to pay some attention to that. Because that's what I need to continue to clean up in my life. If I want to be free, I need to clean up some of that. But if it is not about you, let them keep it. And don't react. You don't need to react. Often as not, arguments are between two people who are reacting to each other and not thinking. And sometimes in an argument or disagreement, the interaction gets to be such that you're just reacting to each other, and you're not really listening, and you're not really paying attention, you're not hearing, you're just reacting. My suggestion is if you get to that point, stop. Just say, stop. We'll take this up some other time, but right now I'm just reacting, and this is going nowhere. Take a time out. Back up. Give yourself some time to breathe, to get yourself centered, and to really sort through what you've just learned about yourself and the other person. And then maybe get together later. That is a really important way of helping to clear up what's going on between you and other people. It's also a really strong way of using your interaction with others to learn more about yourself that you may not be able to find by yourself. It's often said that a relationship is a crucible of personal development. It's kind of easy to be impeccable when you're just by yourself. But in interactions with other people, things can get to be a little bit messy. That's where you stand as a warrior. You pay attention to what's yours, let them have what's theirs. You don't take anything personally. You don't make assumptions about what it is that they're trying to say, because you really don't know. You really don't. It's better to ask questions than to make assumptions about what you think they are trying to say. So I commend that thought to you about boundaries, about filtering, about not taking things personally, other people as a mirror, and also focusing on, with awareness, what your other person is showing you about yourself that you may need to work on, to clear up before you can be free.